What planes will the Boeing 797 compete with? At the upcoming Paris Air Show, we may get the first glimpse of the Boeing 797. But until then, we can only speculate on how Boeing will approach the current aviation market and how they'll deal with competition. Engine manufacturer Rolls-Royce is predicting between 4,000 and 5,000 Boeing 797s will be ordered over the next 20 years. But what aircraft will the 797 be competing against? And will this competition be able to beat Boeing to the punch? Before we discuss what aircraft will compete with the 797, we need to know what role the 797 will fill. The Boeing 797, also dubbed the new mid-sized aeroplane, fills a hole in the Boeing aircraft lineup. Currently, Boeing don't sell an aircraft that carries up to 250 to 270 passengers and is also designed for short-haul travel. The Boeing 797 would be bigger than the Boeing 737 MAX 10, but smaller than the long-haul Boeing 787-8. Airlines are looking for an aircraft that's suited for high-capacity short-haul routes. For example, routes between close cities like Melbourne and Sydney, where we have the most passengers per year, or Chicago and New York, could both benefit from the 797. With its twin aisles, it'll be able to board and disembark passengers much faster than the single-aisle aircraft that are currently used on these routes, for example, the Boeing 737 or the Airbus A320. The 797 has the advantages of being a new design and incorporating the latest technological innovations from both the Dreamliner and the Boeing 777X, which we'll see flying later this year. These include a composite structure to make it lighter and a myriad of improved passenger comforts. For those who are curious, here are some of the rumoured specifications. A cockpit crew of 2, seating for 228 in 2 class and up to 275 in a 1 class plane. An exit limit of 250 to 270 total possible passengers. A length of 155 feet and 3 inches or 47.3 metres. A wingspan of 124 feet and 10 inches or a 38-metre wingspan. A wing area of 1,994 square feet or 185.25 metres squared. A tail height of 44 feet and 6 inches or 13.6 metres. And a cabin width of around 45 metres wide. At this time, the maximum takeoff weight is unknown. The cruising speed could possibly be Mach 0.85 with a range of 5,000 nautical miles or 9,300 kilometres and a fuel capacity of around 11,000 US gallons. Naturally, all of these are subject to change and they're only estimations. So what aircraft will the 797 compete against? A variety of different aircraft exist already, and there are some future designs that could be tweaked to be 797 killers. The Airbus A320 on the Boeing 737. Currently, the role of the 797 is somewhat being fulfilled by the Airbus A320s and Boeing 737s. The Airbus A320 has the world's fastest growing sales of any aircraft and is widely used. But both of these aircraft are smaller, fitting in around 100 to 230 passengers, and lack the advantages of a newer twin-aisle design. Boeing has said that the 737 could perform much of the work, but a further stretch is nearly impossible. The design is already so long that any extra length would cause it to scratch the ground as it took off, and any bigger engines would clip the ground. The Boeing 737 has been involved in some unfortunate accidents that have highlighted how out of date the design is, and that Boeing needs to approach the market with a brand new concept. The Boeing 767 is the closest jet to what the 797 will become. It's twin-aisled, carrying 210 to 300 passengers with a range of 5,500 to 6,500 nautical miles. Boeing produced and sold over 1,200 of these aircraft, and they're still in use all over the world. However, it's an older design made for a time when flights were much more expensive, fuel was cheap, and building materials were heavy. With lighter and more fuel-efficient planes available, the Boeing 767 is just not the most economical option on the market. With the Boeing 797 unlikely to be flying before 2024, it's possible that Boeing could restart Boeing 767 production in the meantime. It is believed, for instance, that United is looking for around 40 mid-sized aircraft to bridge the gap. They could simply convert the freighter variants under construction. Currently, Boeing leadership have ruled it out, but anything is possible. The Airbus A321neo. Airbus has come out and said that they intend either this aircraft or the Airbus A330neo to compete with the Boeing 797. However, the A321 can only carry around 230 passengers with an exit limit of 250 and only has a range of 4,000 to 5,000 nautical miles. This would always make it the lesser option when compared to the 797. But Airbus isn't worried, knowing that it'll reap plenty of orders that might go to a 797. Earlier this month, Airbus's CEO said, "We don't feel under pressure to react, even before Boeing has moved. Market share for the A321 is very big because there's no real competition, and we'll keep improving this product to serve the low end of the middle of market space." Boeing 787-8. The Boeing 787-8 seems to tick all the boxes for the Boeing 797. It's twin-aisled, economical, carries 242 passengers in a two-class configuration, and does 7,300 nautical miles. But this is overkill for some airlines. As we've mentioned before, a bigger plane means more tickets to sell. More tickets to sell means it's harder to make a profit. Plus, Boeing would not want to cannibalise sales of their own aircraft, and thus would differentiate the 797 from the 787 family. It's unlikely that they would market it as an option. The Airbus A330neo. The last aircraft on this list is the actual aircraft Airbus is officially touting to beat the 797. Specifically, the A330-800, which has sold only 8 units in the world. The A330-800 can carry 257 passengers in a three-class configuration or up to 400 in an all-economy cattle box. It has a range of 8,150 nautical miles and would place it perfectly within the scope of what Boeing is trying to achieve. The only problem is cost. The Airbus A330-800 is expensive to buy, around $259.9 million, and of course expensive to run. The Boeing 797 is rumoured to be priced around $120 million and to run 40% cheaper than the A330. So far, the fact that Airbus has only sold 8 A330-800s is very telling of how popular this design is. But Airbus has not ruled out tweaking the design, so we shall have to see what the future holds for this aircraft. So, when can we expect the Boeing 797 design to be finished? As for when it'll actually be flying, that's up to Boeing. They've said, "We're not going to launch this airplane unless the business case makes good sense. We still have time to do our homework and make the right decision, so we're not going to be rushed into a decision here."